Alrighty, so welcome to a special edition of Melbourne Strength Culture's Quantum Lifting. Charlie got an upgrade. I have Will Crozier here with me. Obviously, for those of you who have been living under a rock, the two of us are in America right now, 4 weeks into a 6-week trip. Touring the US. America. And we are currently in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, on the third to last stop on our trip so far. And we're thinking that Charlie and I had planned to do this podcast before we left with Will. However, some flight delays and some traffic meant that we couldn't do it. So we thought we might as well plug this in for 2 weeks left of the trip. So
it's just a bit of a recap.
So far. Yeah, because I know a lot of people are interested in what we're doing over here because we actually have had a pretty action-packed trip.
Full on, actually. But yeah, I think we planned the trip for mostly business, to do the two big courses that we've done, Zach Couples' Human Matrix, Pat Davidson's Rethinking the Big Patterns 2. And then everything else fell around that, some mentorship, some seeing different people. And it's all come together really well. I think we've been really lucky.
Oh, we've been very lucky.
And then I'm going to finish this trip off with a comp, so we've been prepping in there as well. So it's been a bit of a mix of everything.
Yeah. A lot of business, a lot of work, but definitely a lot of fun as well. And we're going to recap some of this here. But obviously, yeah, we flew in 4 weeks ago into Boston on
a 14-hour lovely plane ride across the ocean into LA before another delayed trip into Chicago, Boston.
Yeah.
26
for those
hours total.
For those that know the story of me with a bike, one winter night in Massachusetts, that situation caused us an hour-long delay in Los Angeles, so we missed the connecting flight.
I was a very scared mother.
Yeah.
For my child.
Yeah, we missed the connecting flight, so then we had to go through Chicago for a 2-hour stopover, which was probably the highlight of my trip so far because Will got stopped by a random 15-year-old kid for a photo.
My fans won't leave me alone, what can I say? It's a hard life.
It was fantastic.
But it was 26-ish total round trip.
Yeah.
In an economy class airplane seat with us two sitting next to each other. So
yeah, the best is that they put us at the very back of the airplane in the very last row on the far right, and unfortunately there's no window there.
There's no 2 inches of comfort.
And everyone knows the windows are slightly bubbled, so when you've got a round delt that can sit inside the window sill, you lose about 2 to 3 inches worth of width. And when you've got 122 kilo Will Crozier, and then me, I'm not massive, but I'm broader than the average. It was that 2 to 3 inches didn't help us at all because we had no window. So the two of us were crumpled up. It was pretty shit. Yeah, it was pretty fucking shit.
But so I didn't really put my body in a great position to come into what would have been 6 weeks out.
Yeah, not at all.
So
no,
probably not optimal start to that 6 week ending into the prep, but
it is what it is.
It is. I knew that it wasn't going to be the best prep of my life.
Yeah.
So it's just an add-on.
Yeah, we're doing our best with the prep.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a bit more later.
Yeah, later. But yeah, so we got into Boston obviously for the Zach Couples Human Matrix seminar, which is the first seminar on first of the two. It was the first weekend, so like 2 days in after we sort of realigned our chakras in Boston after some early rises and a bit of walking. Yeah. How overall we'll discuss the Zach Couples seminar on a video post for the Nexus Performance YouTube channel. So that will come up probably by the end of this week because we'll film that again today. But as a whole, that seminar was actually really, really good for myself.
Yeah, dropped a lot of made a lot of things click in my head. I've watched a lot of Zach's material before, so I've heard him say a lot of the stuff that he covered in the seminar. But to hear it all together and to be able to ask questions as one entire kind of model, it definitely made a few things go, there we are.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And as we discussed just ourselves privately, the utility of it in like an online business for yourself is probably not as strong as somebody like myself who has 80 people in the gym and constantly running assessments and one-on-ones with newer lifters through our systems. because it is all breathing focused, and it's a lot of it is measurement. You actually got to get your hands on. But we'll definitely find some strategies that we can utilize what we learned for the online business for sure.
Just knowing, it's always helpful to just know how the body works on a deeper level, and then you can just use that to drive your decisions, whether it's programming, whether it's helping somebody through technique issues, if somebody's got an injury, stuff like that, even online.
For sure.
Just knowing all that stuff.
For sure. But as I said, we'll go through a full proper recap. So if you're interested in that, I'll obviously post it up when we do post it on the Nexus Performance YouTube channel. Again, some point this week that will go up. From Boston, what else did we do there? We went and saw a couple gyms. We went and saw Murph Dog.
We went to TPS.
TPS.
And my elite FGS Murph.
Yeah.
Got my first squat session in, which was absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
But, the tightest hips in the world made staying upright in a squat pretty much impossible. It was pretty much a hinge. But I still hit, I think it was 350, 355 kilo squat.
Yeah.
For the top set. So, it's not a bad day at the office still. Considering 355 is my best in competition.
Yeah, we've been fucked with the pound plates on a number of occasions. We finished
that session took an extra hour, I reckon, just purely because of the math.
Yeah, we had a couple kilo plates on the inside, and then after that was pounds, and it just
And the bar weights, like everything.
Yeah, the metric system is the way to go. What the fuck is America doing?
That's one of a few things which should cap off what America should change.
Should change. That's definitely one. The tipping system as well. Just increase the price of things and pay your staff what they're worth.
I don't know. I'm always like, look, you did a good job,
but you just did your job.
$5, $10.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, that's in the weeds though. But then we also, I was lucky enough to obviously go back and see. Actually, Tony Bonvecchio, your coach for the previous pro roll.
Yeah, Tony Bonvec and
Greg Robbins
and Nancy at the Strength House.
Yeah, the Strength House. We went and saw them. They were obviously the guys that were probably spearheading the internship when I was at Cressy 3.5 years ago, nearly 4 years ago now. Which was really cool, actually. Their gym, the Strength House, definitely worth a follow. We did a podcast with them.
Yeah, we'll link that.
We'll link that in there.
I would say one of the best powerlifting gyms that we've been to.
I think for sure, other than hybrid, but the thing
in terms of equipment.
Yeah, with hybrid.
Vibe,
yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
Really good crew there.
Hybrid obviously have a monster of a business pushing that along, an online thing that
top of the line equipment.
Yeah, crazy. And we'll get into Miami, but it was cool to see them, and that podcast was actually, I would recommend if you're interested in some of the stuff that to do with our businesses on the backside. We discussed a little bit of training, a little bit of pro raw, a little bit of powerlifting, a little bit of my own experience starting up the gym after doing the Cressy internship. I'd highly recommend that.
Speaking of which, that's where we went next.
Yeah, we did. We just popped in. Well, I had breakfast with Pete.
It was cool. I've seen so many CSP videos online, YouTube, tutorials, whatever, anything level of Cressy stuff. So for me to actually go there and go like, oh, hey, that's the background for those, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Because I know when I first went there, I thought the gym was so much bigger than what it looks on. I think it's understated how big the Massachusetts Cressy facility is.
When you think about it, it makes sense because there are people pitching.
Yeah, there's 2 bird cages in there. There's 2 pitching lanes in there.
They've got a lot of room.
Yeah, they got 5 squat racks, double-ended squat racks that probably have 2 meters between them on either direction. There's probably a 45-meter turf, maybe 4 meters wide down the end. There's a full massage, like physical therapy and massage business rolling in there now with Andrew Millett. Spearheading that, and then they've obviously got Chris Howard doing the soft tissue work on the inside in there. It's just a massive gym, and
I'm not exposed to sports in Australia, but from what I understand and have seen, it's bigger than what we've got.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
It's just he's certainly not the biggest. Like we're going to talk about Alabama and that, but
in terms of private sector, they're definitely one of the bigger companies and the bigger.
It's impressive
figureheads.
What they've built, the systems they've built.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and as most people that come in contact with me personally, I would be nothing without what I learnt there. From a business model standpoint, training model standpoint, I'll be forever in debt to Cressy and Pete there at CSP, and obviously Tony and Greg and Nancy for helping me out when I was a lot younger. It was cool to see them. It was probably
that little trip was my first experience with you driving.
Yeah,
as well.
Oh yeah, we also hired a car that day. That wasn't too bad driving. Driving's alright over here.
For me, I was like.
Yeah.
This is different.
Yeah.
It's not the same. But it's
Well, the second thing that we could probably talk about America having
the complete disregard.
the suggestion of a speed limit.
It doesn't exist.
Because everybody is literally 20 miles over, which is nearly like 34 kilometers or 36 kilometers.
If you're going to speed limit, you're a danger to society.
Yeah, no, 32 kilometers over the speed limit. It is crazy.
Yeah,
and we did more driving in Nashville, obviously, but
that's where I got my first taste.
Yeah, that would be the second thing. That what is America doing with these speed limits, these speed suggestions?
Yeah, I don't mind that.
You don't mind it? Fair enough.
Keep rolling.
So there, obviously, once we left Boston, then we moved down to the University of Rhode Island with Dave Fisher.
Took the train down to absolutely disgusting weather.
Probably the shittest weather I've ever seen.
Such a beautiful place.
The wind kept me up that night. I couldn't sleep because of the wind. You were probably knocked out. Bane mask on. Yeah. CPAPing your life away.
The rainfall though throughout the day made it difficult, but it was cool to go for me again to go to uni. People playing baseball, basketball, therapy, athletics, everything within the same facility.
The swim team were doing some stuff.
By far not the biggest university. It was just like, holy shit, this is a step up.
Yeah, this is a big change to what we're used to here, or used to anywhere really.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like I've been to what's the Australian? Canberra.
Like the Institute of Sport.
Yeah, I haven't been there, but I'm assuming it's bigger than that, better than that.
Yeah, I would say the Alabama facilities are better than the Victorian Institute of Sports. Yeah, without a doubt.
Alabama was ridiculous. I don't think you can get much better.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, Rhode Island was still impressive for me. It's not like their gym equipment was bad. They still had crazy good
They've
stuff.
just done an upgrade of their gym, their main gym. Every place has like a main gym and then smaller gyms for each of the teams. But their main like team-based gym was legit. Crazy sound system in there. Yep. Coach Chase, he was a cool dude.
Hard, commanding respect.
Yeah. Building a better culture in there by the sounds of things. But the University of Rhode Island was definitely... I really enjoyed it because we sort of got a back end. Something that I learned that day that I had never thought about was how much money these universities spend on just travelling their teams.
Yeah, with you baseball, how many people are in baseball? That make up a baseball.
Their travel for the season was nearly $200,000.
How many games they play too?
Yeah, baseball's not as much as the major league, but they'd be playing 2 to 3 a week, I would say. Yeah. A lot of home games against the teams that are, or the colleges and the unis that are close to them. But the travelling ones, the baseball alone, imagine trying to charter a football team. 90 players, staff, physical therapists, cheerleaders, band. The band. Yeah, like imagine what...
Equipment.
It's just something that I never really thought about because we did sort of get the back end at Rhode Island because I know Dave quite well now. I'd say he's one of my best friends even though he's overseas. It was interesting to see the back end of how one of these...
How much money's in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Also for me, like just the whole idea of recruiting was insane. Like to have these people like, you know, scouting. James Bond sneaking around a 14-year-old high school person like looking for these future stars. I don't know. I just don't see that. Like when I was in high school, you don't see like these universities rocking up and scouting people. Like, the scholarships are really the driver, and it's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's just different.
It's a different world. We'll never catch Australian strength and conditioning. Australian sports performance will never catch America ever. It won't happen.
You think that's a population thing?
Population driven. I do think it's the university scholarships that drive the whole thing. I've discussed this somewhere else before on here, but
they have incentive. Need to push
high school athletes, high school families have a reason for their kids to be the number one because it saves them $150K and they get a college education because they played baseball at university. Rather than, my kid, I'm not going to push him into any sport. I don't want him to succeed in sport because I want to put more money into... There's no reason. Just more money in academics over here. Yeah. And then obviously the population demand, economy of scale and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, we get dwarfed, absolutely dwarfed by anything over here. Even like we'll discuss Alabama, but that was crazy. Exos today as well here in Arizona. That would be better than the Australian Institute of Sport, like the facilities there.
That was just one of their. How many he said? But
yeah, I think
hundreds of facilities.
They got 400 around the world, but in terms of like their hubs, I think there's 4 in America or 3 in America. Yeah. This is their main one though, so we saw the top. But yeah, crazy. Yeah. After Rhode Island though, we took the train.
Love the train.
Took the train. I listened to
the song of the trip.
Song of the trip, Crocodile Rock, about 13 times straight. I had the lyrics.
Can ruin a song.
Can ruin a song.
Just listen to it until it's no longer enjoyable, and then it's done for your life.
Just murder it for about 2 months. It will come back at some point.
50 years.
50 years it will come back, and I'll know the words. You fucking watch. This brain remembers. Yeah. But yeah, we took the train down to New York, which was... I love New York. What was your first... Obviously, we need to talk about the train incident, the subway incident.
Yeah, my expectations in New York heading in, huge city, you see it on TV, you see it in movies, you're like, holy shit, this place is going to be huge.
Big buildings, people everywhere, sounds, noises.
Did get warned about it being a bit stenchy.
Yeah.
Definitely a truth.
A little smelly.
Just a bit.
Just a bit smelly.
But yeah, we got there on a train. We caught the train straight onto the subway system to go to our accommodation in Brooklyn. And one thing I quickly learned in New York is every time you get on a subway, literally every time, multiple times a day, there's a person begging for money on it.
Begging, in some capacity, asking for money.
For money. Yeah. Whatever it is, they might be selling something, they might be just cup out, little note, I don't know. This guy, on this first one, decided he was going to sing a pretty epic song. I'll give him credit. The song was heartfelt. There was a lot of energy.
He had a lot of hustle.
Had a lot of hustle. He just had his little cup and he was playing the drums on his knees, singing pretty loud that I could hear him from the opposite end of the subway.
Yeah.
And
like a real rhythmic song. It was good.
I thoroughly enjoyed the song.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to give money because it's going to open up a pathway. Anyway, after the song, walks through the carriage asking for money, gets a couple dollar notes here and there.
Probably made.
By the way, quick side note: dollar notes. What the fuck? Why are you doing that?
Yeah, that's probably that's probably the top of my list. Other than throwing them at strippers.
And just paper.
Yeah. Nah.
And then walks through, gets down to our end, probably a meter or two from us, and proceeds to yell out that we're all bums, broke bums for not giving him money. Everybody on these carriages. Broke bums. I always get the broke ass carriages or something like that. Which was pretty funny, I thought, but other people thought it wasn't as funny because they're not bums. So 3 or 4 people speak up. We're not bums.
You're a bum.
Which, to be fair, 100% accurate.
Is accurate.
100% accurate.
They're not lying.
And I thought that was that. That's where I would have left it. He went back. I would have went. I just would have shut my mouth.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, exactly.
But we had one lady who was sitting on my right, or both of our right.
Yeah, so he was
your left.
So the drummer man, the hustler, was on the left hand side.
Yeah.
I was sitting down on like a side seat with Will to my right, and then there was a woman on Will's right facing his direction.
And she decided that she was going to make a big argument about it, and they got at it back and forth. I'm not broke, you're not broke, I've got to support my family, rah, 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 angry, go back and forth.
I'm a chef. Yeah.
She was a chef, so she earned her living, he wasn't, she was collecting. Anyway, then he decided to call her out and say that the reason that she was so angry in life was because she ain't getting no dick. Which... a bold statement.
Strong statement.
I mean, no real data behind it.
No evidence. Purely skepticism here. Yeah. Skeptical evidence.
And she retaliated with it. She gets plenty of dick.
Plenty, and she emphasized plenty. Yeah. Emphasized plenty when she said it. I get plenty of dick.
Yeah, Again, strong case back.
Yeah, but then it swung quite aggressively when after she said, I get plenty of dick," she said, "I'll fucking stab you."
Yeah.
To which
I should stab you.
Yeah. To which he then pulls out a knife out of his asshole. It looks like
out of his crack,
somewhere out the backside. Pulled a knife out in the middle of this subway. Mind you, we're in the middle.
Well, I was laughing at that point. Well, not laughing out loud, but in my head, I was like, I'm trying to hold it back. But at that point, it turned a bit of terror.
Yeah.
Because even though it wasn't a particularly impressive knife, it was still a knife that could do damage.
It could still stab stuff.
When he pulled it out, it was within probably 30 centimeters of hitting you.
Yeah. I had because we had stood up at that point because we were actually trying to get off the train, and I was holding the arm lever thing at the top that you hold on, and he pulled it out and like swung it near my arm,
and then pointed
and then
at
he
her,
said,
and then
"Not if I get you first."
me and you were shitting ourselves. The other people are acting like this is a daily occurrence.
Yeah.
She wasn't impressed at all.
2 other guys did stand up. So you and I were standing up then, and then 2 other guys were standing up. And then everyone was like, "Get the fuck off the train."
Yeah, and he backed off.
So then he got off the train. And then...
faking as if he had notes in his... Like, he tried to act as if he had, like, hundreds in his pocket.
Yeah, he was making bank.
Yeah.
He wasn't. And we did actually bump into him about 3 days later, and he was singing the same song, but he wasn't pulling the knife out.
No knives.
He still looked like he was in the same clothes.
Probably did.
Yeah.
Was shelving the knife still?
Yeah, the knife was probably still on his person. But that was our first...
That was the introduction to New York. That got me going like, hey, okay, this is what it is. Excellent. I'm glad I came here.
Keep going.
And from there, we got our accommodation. Probably the worst accommodation we've hit so far. Had a bunk bed.
Yeah, we had a bunk
you had
bed.
to climb up every night.
Yeah, it was shit house.
The world's loudest aircon.
We had a bunk bed, a shitty aircon, and we had 2 Russian guys next to us that would steam room our bathroom every morning. They would have 40-minute showers. I don't even think they got in the shower. They
saunaed.
They saunaed it with the hot water, and then they'd open the door at the end, and everything was just saturated.
Yeah, and but New York as a whole, we didn't really have any plans headed in.
Yeah, no
Zero
plans. Oh, other than we're going to go to Hype and then just do the touristy stuff.
Yeah, just do tourists, just bum around, find things to do. But it turned into a really good turn of luck. We ran into a lot of cool people. So we went to Hype. We met Pat Davidson as planned. He introduced us to the rest of the gym. One of the other members, Marcos, he said, "Hey, I'm having a belated birthday party on my rooftop. Come for beers."
On Saturday night? Or Saturday Arvo?
So we go get beers with everybody, meet heaps more cool people, a few cool dogs.
Yeah, there were some cool dogs there.
And then from there, we got invited out to a psychedelic symposium after party.
Symposium.
And which was talking about the potential benefits of psychedelics in the use of mental health.
In just society in general, really.
Something I'm not really familiar with.
It was a waste of fucking
definitely
time.
Didn't swing me at all.
It was a waste of fucking time.
It was a gigantic waste of time, and Marcos apologised profusely for taking us.
And then as a result, we got an invite to lunch the next day.
Yeah,
with Mike Israel.
Yes, and Mike and Marcos are good friends, it turns out, and we went to lunch with them, all you can eat Japanese.
Which was a 2-hour just
really
laugh. It was actually
chat about just random stupid crap.
Shit, yeah.
Just tearing each other apart as he does.
Yeah.
And then from there, I trained a couple of times. We went and did went up the tower,
the top of the Rockefeller Center. We did that.
We rode 10 kilometers around
Central Park
because we're true tourists. For anybody that knows us, look, that's a big deal. I think
energy systems development is number one.
Since I was a teenager.
What did it feel like? Like riding a bike?
Yeah, absolutely nailed it. It's like riding. The story is true. The saying is true. 100%.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Nailed it. I feel like after the first 100 meters, I was just like, I'm
back. Yeah,
I'm gonna do a flip.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the first couple kilometers, I was going pretty steady.
There was a few sneaky hills.
Bikes.
Oh, the bike. No, I'm not going to blame the bike.
I'm going to blame the bike. Fuck it. And the gears didn't go high enough, so I couldn't gather enough speed. And then when it came to I'm not even going to say hills, just slight inclines. Maybe a slight incline.
The slants.
The slight inclines for an extended distance got us
big time.
I was back in first gear. I was pedaling like ridiculous, and it burned us.
Yeah, I remember.
I had DOMs from that.
I was struggling. I was pretty wrecked by the end of it.
But I'm impressed that we made 10 kilometers.
It was cool though. Central Park. Apparently, Central Park. The footprint of Central Park is bigger than Melbourne CBD, which is crazy.
Yeah, when we rode around that.
We rode around it. Yeah,
it's 101.
It's like 6 miles around or something. 5 miles around.
Pretty much an endurance athlete.
Yeah.
As well.
6.6 miles around, I think it is. Yeah, it's crazy. So New York, overall, what did you think of New York by the end of it? So you went in with the expectation, and I think the expectation.
I wouldn't go back to Boston. I would go back to there if that helps provide. A lot of stuff to do, a lot of things to see. I mean, I don't think you could get through. I think even if we spent this entire 6 weeks there, we would still be finding shit to do.
Yeah.
So there's just everything in the world there to do. It just smells a bit, and there's too many people, and you have to walk 1,000 kilometers every day. But
I last time I went there I went twice when I was here for 6 months. I spent the first 10 days there across Christmas and New Year's, and then I went back for a long weekend. I think it was what's the Irish Day? St. Patrick's Day. I went back for a St. Patrick's Day weekend, a long weekend down there. And I made the decision then that at some point in my life I would live in New York City for 6 months. At some point. I don't know when it will happen, but after going again, it just reaffirmed that it's something I want to do. I've spoken to Laura, my girlfriend.
she's down.
And I said, yeah, we're fucking doing this. And she runs an online business, completely online, so she could do it at any moment. So it's on me to sort my life out in the next 5 years to get us over there.
Get the jig going.
It's legit. I love New York. I really do.
All right, from there, we'll move on. We're going to take hours. From there, we flew to Nashville on a Tuesday, which...
Picked up our car. Oh, how good was the car story?
Oh,
so
cars are great.
we came out of the airport. I'm like, oh, we'll get the car. I had booked one, and then we go to the desk, and the guy's helping us, blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, you've got the standard size car. And I'm like, all right, where is it? He's like, oh, just walk down there. You'll see a run of cars with the standard sticker above them. Just pick whichever one you want. Keys will be in there. Drive it like you stole it.
Drive it like you stole it, baby.
I'm like, what?
This is Grand Theft Auto.
He's like,
burnouts out there like you stole it.
He's like, yeah, man. You literally just choose the car you want to take. So we got in there. We got in the little garage bit, and there was just
at first it was like, oh, we should be sensible and get a nice small car that's
sedan.
easy to drive. Because, you know, we're not used to driving here. Just one that's nice and simple to park and everything. But then
there was a truck.
There was a big ass truck.
We took a truck.
Another side bit, Americans drive huge trucks for some reason, for no reason. For absolutely no reason. They're
massive,
would be
blinged
super
out.
Annoying to park, would be super annoying to drive, but it's an American thing. You have to have a big truck if you're a man. So
that's what we did. We took the big truck.
We took the big ass truck.
Threw the bags in the back.
Yeah.
Drove around.
Jared.
We ate McDonald's. Mm-hmm. Then we went back and picked up Jared, my roommate, Jared Kay, who we've had on this podcast before, and picked him up, and then drove through Broadway, which is like their
main strip.
Their main strip, their bars, and like
Keep in mind, this is a Tuesday,
and it was.
And we just see like Vegas-like signs everywhere, big, flashing, different colors, everything crazy going off. Hundreds of people in these bars, so much music, like just every pub just playing music. This is a Tuesday, and it turns out we're not far from there. So we go get our room, which was actually pretty sick. We nicknamed it the Manor.
The Manor. It was unreal. Yeah, really definitely the best accommodation we'll get, without a doubt.
And we ended up going down there that night and going to a couple little sports bars, watching the games.
And the live music.
And the live music was insane.
After you left, because Jared and I got a bit pissed that night, but Will went home to sleep. They were asking for requests for songs, and I was just everywhere we went. Can we play Crocodile Rock? Elton John. None of them knew any Elton John songs. Not even Honky Cat.
I think it was down to that because there's piano.
Yeah.
They have piano.
Yeah. Well, they just suck and they're not that good. But
yeah, when I told you last time, you said that they could improvise the piano on other instruments, but
surely.
I don't know if it works like that.
Surely, nah, dogs. But Nashville was pretty cool. Probably my favorite city overall.
It's like a really busy country town.
Yeah.
Like just all these crazy big country acts. If you're, a Garth Brooks or something, you're an absolute
star there. Yeah.
And
who's the Aussie guy?
Completely different world to what New York was. Completely different country. It felt like.
Yeah.
Not even. It didn't feel like the same place at all.
Yeah. Who's the guy, the Aussie that married Nicole Kidman? The country singer. Keith Urban? Yeah, he'd be a legit A-star, full-time celebrity, best man of all time there. Go.
If I did country, I'd be there.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously from there, we took the car. We had a few days there, but we took the car down to Birmingham, which was like a 3-hour drive. 6 a.m. on the Friday morning.
Alabama.
We met Brett Price there, who was a Cressy alumni with myself, and obviously Eric put us in contact with each other, and he gave us a full morning tour of the entire athletic department of Alabama University, which I think is personally probably the highlight of my career outside of what I've done with Melbourne strength culture. I could not believe what I was seeing when we were walking through there. We got on the field.
Yeah. That stadium holds 110.
Yeah, about 105.
Which is bigger than, I'm pretty sure that's bigger than any.
It seats 110. So yeah, it's bigger than anything in Australia.
And then to have that sell out for every game of the season, but for a college football, not pro football.
Yeah.
And not only that, that's just football, and then they have the basketball and the track and everything, the field, the baseball, everything was just insane. Like the big indoor field was super impressive, just like a full size NFL field, whatever. And then just indoors, just that, just everything about it was just like, holy shit, there's just this, how much money is here? And then he said it was getting a $600 million upgrade.
Yeah.
Which
doesn't make any sense, but
it was already the best thing.
That's why American sport will continue to progress at a rate unfathomable quicker than what Australian sport will. Reinvestment.
What impressed me was the following day when we went to what they call tailgating, which is pretty much pre-drinking for the game.
Yep.
And you go to this place called the Quad, right next to the stadium. Huge big oval, and everybody's got little tents set up, and everybody has like TVs in there and food and passing the ball. Just it was quickly apparent to me how much more they love their sport.
It's like
more than
patriotism,
us. Like they just fucking love it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other word for it. They are so passionate into their team, and just nothing else. Like everybody there's. If you're wearing an Alabama, like you're the best.
Yeah.
Like everybody's friends.
Crazy day.
Zero violence or anything there that I saw.
And we saw the bands as well. Like they call it the $1 million band. The band is absolutely crazy.
And then when you get in the stadium, the noise is ridiculous. The lights are stupid. As soon they have every single one of their songs, they have chants to, and everybody knows the words.
Yeah. Crazy.
Just.
One of the craziest days.
Me how absolutely insanely into it they
one of the craziest days of my whole entire life.
Yeah,
it was awesome. Probably the highlight of the trip, I would say. That weekend, doing the tour, the Nashville experience, doing the tour, and then the Alabama game. It was expensive. It was an expensive weekend, but
when we did the tour, we got told a story in one of there was a picture of on the field, 2 helicopters on the field, and to give you an idea of how much they love it and how much money they have. Apparently, the story goes the ground was a bit wet before a game. The coach or the head of it decided, hey, we need these fields dry for the game. No questions asked. Do it, whatever it takes. They made a few calls to locals that had a lot of money. One guy had a couple of helicopters.
Flew the helicopters in.
Decided to hover them above the ground to dry the field.
And just went up and down the field. And
rather than, I don't know, like using a blower or some shit, getting 100 people in there to do that, which is, I guess, what most people would do.
Yeah.
They just get 2 helicopters in just drive the field that way. No. I think that shows how much they love it.
Yeah, and that was a donation too. The person didn't ask for it. That was like, I'll just bring a couple of helicopters in. But yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. And then from there, we went across to Miami, Hybrid Performance. Obviously, we spent a lot of time on the beach, but for the most part, we were at Hybrid Performance the whole time. Where you actually got
chill out, relax city.
We actually got some proper sessions in there, like legit, like
full sessions.
Better eating,
super good gym, high level equipment, best equipment I could ask for. Really good crew. Everyone there was really supportive and knew what they were doing. Yeah, we got to meet obviously Steffi was there. Hayden, Alex, and then Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus. Yep, and then obviously Russell Orhi came in for a session on the Thursday, which was cool.
Yeah.
Got to chat with him for a little bit. He's actually a really, really nice guy. Very positive, as you probably see with all his social medias. And then we went to and had dinner with them all as well, which was a nice little...
took us all out to dinner.
Yeah.
And it was, a lovely, lovely crew. And, I just had a lot of fun just relaxing in Miami. Again, it felt like a completely different...
city.
Country compared to...
Yeah, the weather was different. Very humid. Very humid.
It was very Cairns-like for me.
Yeah.
They just have hot, wet, and hot, dry.
Yeah.
That's all they do.
And the sun was piercing, and the water was perfect. The best water I've ever seen. I actually don't like the water normally.
It was like going in a bath.
But I spent a lot of time in that water. Yeah, it was cool.
And you got a little bit burnt.
I got a little bit burnt. It's all gone now. Skin's glowing.
Happy days.
Happy days. And then from Miami, we just flown into Arizona now. Where it's a Monday, about midday here. Monday, maybe a little bit after, but we are just come off the back end of the Pat Davidson seminar.
Yeah.
So the second big seminar that we had booked in here. And that review will be on our YouTube channel here on Melbourne Strength Culture. So the Zach Couples one will be on Nexus. The Pat Davidson one will be on my one. That will be up maybe next week. But
along with the other Pat videos that we did.
Yeah, we've got some Q&As on there that you've hopefully seen already. If you haven't, please check them out, both on the Nexus and our YouTube channel. But what were your overall thoughts of the Patty D seminar, Rethinking the Big Patterns 2?
Different to Zach in that Zach was very super structured, very clinical, very he did things like step. Pat, I really like the way he explains things. He makes complex things simple. Not to say that his was not organised, but on top of the material that he had on the slides and stuff, there was a lot of chat, a lot of good information on the side that if you were to just read the slides you wouldn't get. And I mean, Pat's just a fucking awesome dude just to hang around.
Yeah. His hospitality, both in New York City, but then also he's a lad. We want to get him to Australia. So if you are interested in Pat Davidson and some of the stuff that he promotes, obviously we'll more than likely just bring Rethinking the Big Patterns over. But we've discussed with him some of the logistics of getting him over. It looks like it can actually happen for next year at some point. So if you are interested, please let us know, because if we can get about 25 to 30 people,
we can't book it and then just hope that people are going to buy.
Yeah,
we really need numbers.
We almost need like pre-sales. But if you are interested in getting Pat over, please let us know, because it is something that we want to do, and we think that we can progress some of our understandings of biomechanics and these sort of deeper and understanding of how the human body moves under load and
just biomechanics, deep biomechanics, stuff that I've never heard explained in the way that he explains it.
But it makes a lot of
sense once you get your brain around it, and I think it would be value to pretty much any strength conditioning coach, clinician, anybody that works with sports.
Yep.
So
definitely.
But we'll do the full review after. But
yeah, and obviously that is where we're up to now. So from here we go to Vegas on Wednesday. We're driving through the Grand Canyon.
Spend the weekend there. Spend Halloween there.
Spend Halloween in Vegas.
And
then fly up to San Fran for 8 nights in the lead up for the big comp.
So I can relax and and do it.
And we may do another one of these just at the very end, talking a little bit more about the prep, I reckon, just before the comp.
Yeah. Cool. All right. We'll just do a complete different, completely separate prep one.
Yeah.
Right.
And we'll do that just before we have the actual competition. But that's everything here, I guess. That's the wrap so far.
I want to say,
thank you for listening.
It's been a little ramble about America and what America's been to us.
Yeah.
And we'll do another wrap up one after.
Yep.
It all.
Easy. Peace out. Next week we'll be back to normal with the Strength Culture Quantum Lifting podcast, but there will be further content between the two of us on both of our channels, so make sure you either subscribe to Nexus if you haven't, or keep a view of what's going on here.
All right.
Bye.